A year and a half ago, I had to be cut out of a car following a severe traumatic brain injury in New Zealand. My brain was shaking around inside of my head like an adult version of shaken baby syndrome. 90% of the people that sustain this injury are in a lifelong coma. So I'm just very lucky and grateful to be here with you all tonight. After, I was held in intensive care overnight and induced into a coma over my life flight across the South Island. This coma actually saved my life. My brain swelling miraculously went down, and I woke up less than a day later, totally clueless, but still me, with absolutely no short-term memory whatsoever. I was pissed off one moment, loving the next. I looked and felt normal, but it was just far from it. I have no memories of the hospital, but I'm told that I wanted out of there so bad a security guard was outside of my room 24/7. Luckily, recovery was rapid, and I was able to leave rehab in record time of 14 days, 1 month after the brain injury. It was surroundings in rehab that had the biggest impact on me. For 2 weeks, I was surrounded by wheelchair-bound people deprived of any sort of normal life. The thing was, I was there. I was one of them. I constantly pictured myself with a life like this, and to be honest, it was horrifying. After rehab was the decision to go home to Indiana or stay in New Zealand. I freaking love New Zealand, so I stayed there. For 3 months, I took it super easy thanks to the compassionate Kiwis. I constantly read books of adventure that kept the spirit alive. But I reached a breaking point. Seriously, I can't take it easy for that long. So it was time to get out and put my brain to the test. So of course, I walked 150 miles to the north tip of New Zealand. Midway through happened to be the worst monsoon in over 20 years. I walked for 3 days straight through nonstop, pouring sideways rain. At times I was alone, on my knees, covered in mud, cursing at the top of my lungs. It was the epitome of misery, but it sure put my brain to the test. Then afterwards, I took a Vipassana meditation retreat. It's a 10-day retreat in which you can't write, read, or even talk. Nothing to sidetrack the mind. It's a totally different challenge and much needed change of pace. These two experiences, after near death, set the tone for life after brain injury. And after 6 months, I returned to teaching snowboarding in Colorado. It was a job I love, and a place I felt comfortable sharing the passion of snowboarding. And soon after I got there, a friend, Joey, asked if I wanted to do the Pacific Crest Trail with him. I'd always wanted to, but I needed something more. And a month later, I sparked the idea of walking as a fundraiser for traumatic brain injury, and the Hike for Heads was born and still continues. We partnered with High Hopes Head Injury Program. Their mission is to provide the best, lowest cost program to as many people as possible. Perfect. We handed business cards out to thousands, spread newspapers all over, and or spread posters all over, and got published in multiple newspapers. I set the goal at $20,000, which goes to scholarship funds for those who otherwise couldn't afford High Hopes. It was difficult fundraising, planning the PCT, and working 2 jobs day and night after the brain injury, but to thrive, challenge is necessary. We began the PCT just 1 year after my brain injury. The contrast of how far I'd come to the amazing distance lying ahead was absolutely mind-blowing. From doctors not knowing if I would ever make it to beginning a 2,700-mile journey from Mexico to Canada. So we walked north from the Mexican border. A long, rusty wall surrounded by Border Patrol. It was the tail end of another 100-degree day. Our packs were too heavy. Let's just say we were off to a slow start. All sorts of friends were made through the trail, from people like Bucky and Poppins to Bubbles at a random rave in the middle of nowhere. The bond that's naturally formed between hikers is second to none. All modern-day nomads sharing a common goal. After 350 miles, we were picked up and taken to High Hopes near LA to visit. That night, they booked us a hotel room, and I can't tell you how nice it was to sprawl out in a fresh bed and watch the roasted Justin Bieber after so many sweaty days in the desert. The next morning at High Hopes, first we watched a promotional video that put us both in tears. Then we entered a room full of brain-injured adults working hard to regain their lives. Brain injury has an extremely wide range of outcomes, and High Hopes has customized their program for over 40 years to cover these. At High Hopes, skills thought lost forever are regained. Seriously, miracles happen there. I relived the shock I went through in rehab regarding how lucky I am. These people who face the same injuries have so far to go. We made some great new friends in the process too. Like Brent here, you can see working that loco mat. That's a $500,000 robotic walking machine. We left High Hopes knowing what we were doing was important and hit the trail with strong motivation. The hike for heads was continued solo after Joey got off trail at about 1,000 miles. Hiking stamina was built up as I moved through the most beautiful areas in the world. Along the way, I took side trips to the climb to the top of Mount Shasta, Mount Whitney, and the iconic Half Dome. Then I walked all of Oregon in just over 2 weeks. Not counting 2 rest days, that's an average of 34 miles a day. Let me tell you, it's one thing to walk that much in one day, but the next and the next and the next, that's a different story. Let me tell you something else. Waking up when it's dark and doing nothing but hiking up and down mountains all day until it's dark again gets you some extremely good-looking calves. After 2,000 miles, I entered Washington with plenty of time to finish before the first big snow. I was so burnt out on hiking by this point, and the weather wasn't helping. It being cold and wet all the time makes for a totally different outdoor experience. It's so hard to get going in the morning when it's freezing outside, but you're in your warm, dry haven that is your frozen tent. But anytime I had trouble finding motivation, I just thought of those back at High Hopes, learning to walk, talk, and even eat again, and realized I had it easy. With the hardships came beauty. In Washington, I woke up above the clouds 3 times. And the finish. I hiked 13 miles to the northern terminus without seeing a soul. Constant nostalgia made the miles fly by. As I neared the border, I heard some voices and anxiously approached, and it was none other than Baggins and Wu-Tang, 2 of the best friends I'd made over the entire trail. After a big hug from Baggins, I was in tears of happiness. The Pacific Crest Trail had come to a close. Wow, I'd really walked from Mexico to Canada. When dreams come true, it casts a light on your soul unlike anything else. I like to call it soul shine. And the fact that I was able to help others regain skills lost forever in the process, it's just icing on the cake. As I like to say, you never know till you go. I had never done a long-distance trail before, and neither did hundreds of others that are still finishing as we speak. As humans gifted with brains, we are capable of anything we desire. It may be a long and arduous journey to get there, but that's what builds our soul, our mind, our character. I believe this is the reason I have come so far after traumatic brain injury. There's 5.3 million Americans currently living with disabilities after brain injury. My journey through recovery and on the PCT is nothing compared to what these people go through. All people at least deserve the chance to see that light flickering inside themselves. As James from High Hopes once told me,
funny is the darker the road, the brighter the light.
The darker the road, the brighter the light. Thank you very much.